Games Workshop stock price is dropping like a rock and the game is hemorrhaging players right now. Prices are going up and players are bitter. It's not a great time for hobbyists. So what are Games Workshop doing? Super secret survey. That's right, Games Workshop have been sending out surveys to a select few. And today, I got one in an email. Now, not a lot of people have gotten these. In fact, I've spoken to one other person who has seen this survey, and the moment that she answered wrong, she was kicked out. So I have no idea what's actually in this thing. But I figured it might be worthwhile if we do this together. Let me tell you, this thing has been kept under lock and key. It could be talking about 10th edition, pricing strategies, anything. So let's find out. In this survey, we like to ask some questions that might be perceived as sensitive, such as ethnicity. I hope they don't find out that I'm Irish, though. I think I'll get kicked out of this thing immediately. You know I'm not allowed in Butlins, right? I have the wrong type of name. How old are you? Y'all ain't finding out this information. Before today, had you heard of Warhammer Plus? Crept up on the grapevine. Okay, so is that what this survey is about? Are we gonna get asked questions about Warhammer Plus? So Warhammer Plus first came out in August of last year, so we've been a couple of months into it now. Almost 7 or 8 months. So I wonder if this is gonna be focused on Warhammer Plus specifically. Yes, I know what it is. Are you currently subscribed to Warhammer Plus? No, I have never subscribed to Warhammer Plus. So I wonder, does this mean that they have just been losing a lot of viewers? Could it be? I mean, I'm not surprised if so. I was pretty hard on Warhammer Plus when it first came out. I think that it's always been a massively missed opportunity by Games Workshop, which has been really disappointing for me because I think that actually Warhammer as a setting has a lot of scope for interesting animations and content. So it's always been obvious to me the Warhammer Plus is going to run into some problems. And so I wonder, is this secret survey all about trying to get people to tell them what do they want? I'm really sad that it's not obvious. I mean, they could have watched my video at least. All those shows that are currently on Warhammer Plus could have easily been on Netflix. We'd now like to ask you about your interest in Warhammer. By Warhammer, we mean any Games Workshop tabletop games, the wider universes in which they take place, and any other games, lore or fiction set in these worlds. Awesome, that means that next time I'm making an Age of Sigmar video, I can just call it Warhammer. Oh, it also means that if I ever make a Lord of the Rings video, I can also call that Warhammer. I wonder if the Tolkien estate will have any issues with that whatsoever. Obviously, I know that Games Workshop are not claiming that they own Lord of the Rings. It's just kind of funny to me that they totally forgot that they do a Lord of the Rings game. Does anyone else remember where they were when they heard that a Warhammer movie had won an Academy Award? Alright, well, let's demonstrate our interests in Warhammer. Thinking generally, how important is Warhammer to you personally? I feel like I'm a little bit biased here, what with the channel and all. I'm gonna have to go for 7 here. This is a very enthusiastic answer for me. They're gonna be like, this discourse chick is into Warhammer. How long have you been a fan of Warhammer? So my nerd age, I guess. Not quite old enough to drink, although maybe it is now in 2022. Uh-oh, I gotta do math. Okay, so I bought Dawn of War. That was my first interaction with Warhammer in a serious way. I mean, am I a fan now? Am I still a fan of Warhammer? Do I count myself until the day that I stopped buying exclusively Games Workshop materials? This is Games Workshop are opening a can of worms here. I'm gonna go 11 to 20 years, that feels about right. Which aspects of Warhammer are you aware of? Again, I'm gonna have there's a lot of boxes being ticked by me. I'm aware that there's animations, I'm aware that there's lore, I'm aware that there's video games. Okay, hold on. Collectibles? Hold on, are there collectibles in Warhammer? I know that there was Space Marine Heroes, right? They were like a loot box sort of situation. There was like 7 different types of Space Marines, and you bought the box, you didn't know which one you were gonna get. I hope we never ever see that again, because that was awful. Is that what they mean? Do they mean like, are you aware of all our predatory business practices? Well, the more egregious at least. On the other hand, I mean, they're miniatures, right? All miniatures are collectible. It's the 3rd biggest reason why people hobby. Painting, playing, collecting. Well look, okay, how about this? We'll just compromise on this one. I'm aware that there are Warhammer Funko Pops, so I guess I'll click it. Yes, I'm aware of paints, boxed games, miniatures. Games Workshop do miniatures? So yes, I'm aware of the miniatures. I know there's fan podcasts, but are there official podcasts? I'm gonna not click that one. Black Library Fiction, yes, I am aware that there are clothing. Not gonna lie, I would buy one of those house coats. They're very expensive, they're overpriced. but I would buy one of the house coats just for the meme. The leggings aren't too bad as well. They're very overpriced though, but like that's kind of similar to most merch. Art, yes, I'm aware. There's a lot of amazing artists out there that draw and paint for Games Workshop. Yeah, and then I'll click none of the above. Oh no. Okay, that's everything. So let's continue. Which aspects of the Warhammer hobby are you interested in? Okay, we got a lot of choice. Buckle in. So honestly, this is a tough one for me. I genuinely, I'm interested in most of the hobby. I know I don't sound like that sometimes. If done correctly, I'm interested in most things. I'm actually a very positive person, always open to new experiences. I'm interested in reading Black Library. I am. Not so interested in listening to Black Library, although if I ever get a Audible sponsorship, you'll never hear me say that ever again. Reading Black Library fiction and ebooks, no, less so. I don't really like ebooks. They're super convenient, but I like to get away from screens sometimes. Collecting miniatures, yes. Building miniatures, yes. Painting miniatures, kinda. Watching Warhammer animation, if I found one that was good enough to watch. There's a few out there, but what I would say is that a lot of these animations are lacking a bit of interesting story. But I haven't given a lot of them much time because obviously a lot of them are Warhammer Plus, so I don't watch most of them. The official ones we're talking about here, right? I do like watching the opening to Dawn of War, so I guess I'll click that. Okay, so watching Warhammer lore, I don't do that as much as I used to, mostly because I don't get to paint much anymore. Watching Warhammer painting videos, I do that with some creators, some of the great creators out there. I do play Warhammer related video games. Dawn of War is one of my favorite games of all time. Total War Warhammer is one of my favorite games of all time. Battle for Middle-earth 2 is one of my favorite Warhammer games of all time. Viewing or collecting Warhammer art. There's some amazing artists out there, so yeah, I do like to view Warhammer art. Interacting on Warhammer social media. Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I have an Instagram, and I technically have a Facebook, but I gotta say, I think I prefer interacting on YouTube, so I'm gonna click that as a yes. Reading Warhammer newsletters. So I am signed up to every single Warhammer newsletter that I could find, mostly because it's sort of a requirement doing all this, but I don't enjoy reading them. Playing tabletop games. Yes, please. Reading Warhammer lore online. For Warhammer Fantasy, yeah. For Warhammer Fantasy, yeah, I enjoy reading the lore online for that. Reading Warhammer lore in codexes and battle tomes. First of all, Games Workshop, it's codices. Honestly, for the right faction, yeah, I do enjoy reading codices and battle tomes. I really quite enjoyed the Genestealer Cults faction, but some of them can be hit or miss. I wasn't a big fan of the Sisters of Battle one recently. There's only so many ways that they can present the same information year on year. But when it's fresh, yeah, I quite like it actually. Interacting with unofficial Warhammer communities, Reddit, Facebook, and Discord. I've been on the Warhammer Discord. They do not like me there. Obviously, I spend a lot of my time on the official Warhammer subreddit, Sigmarxism. That is the official one, right? Yeah, actually, I am interested in interacting with those communities. I just think that they're not interested in interacting with me. At least not in a way that involves them not telling me to jump off a ladder. Listening to Warhammer podcasts. Again, I'm not super sure of that. I don't really listen to many podcasts and other. So is there anything that they're missing here? They're missing YouTube, actually. That's a pretty big one, right? Do you watch content on YouTube? I thought they were doing this big push to try and involve other types of content creators. That feels like a really big miss, considering that Midwinter Minis has like 1 million views on his how to put together a Warhammer miniature now these days. Surely they must want to know about that aspect. I mean, I gotta think, are they just curious about what they could put on Warhammer Plus? Because obviously, no Warhammer YouTuber is going to go on to Warhammer Plus. None of the big ones, anyway. Like, who would give up their independence for that? It would be crazy. Okay, so under other, I'm gonna type in YouTube content, and as well as that, of course, and Lord of the Rings video. Those movies were great. Those movies were excellent. The Hobbit, Games Workshop could have done better with that one. So what's really interesting to me here is that they have not included anything crafty in the Warhammer hobby. You can listen to Black Library fiction and be involved in the Warhammer hobby, but apparently you put together terrain and you're doing something weird, something else. That is very disappointing. I mean, I know that Games Workshop wants you to buy their terrain, and at these prices, who can blame them? Because those prices are absurd. It's just weird to me that they don't even acknowledge that crafting of terrain has been a huge part of this hobby for the longest time. I mean, you look over any of the older rule books and you'll see it everywhere. I mean, you can do so much with one of these. I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm not very good with my hands. So that's very disappointing, and it's very revealing about War Games Workshop C, the hobby. Oh dear. How frequently do you spend time on each of these aspects of Warhammer? Reading Black Library fiction. I have not read a book in a really long time. Collecting miniatures. I really love miniatures every day. I think that might just mean buying though, now that I think about it, so maybe I shouldn't have clicked every day, because I do not buy miniatures every single day. But hey, I guess now that I've clicked it, I've got their attention. Alright, building miniatures. Several times a week. So I try to build a miniature, then paint it, which means that my building time is severely slowed down. But I would say that if I had the perfect world, at least once a week. Painting miniatures, again, very rare. I used to paint a lot more, but then I started this channel, and this channel literally takes me like 4 days to get a video out. Let's say several times a week. Let's say several times a week. Okay, watching Warhammer animation, less often. I'm pretty sure that if I were watching Warhammer animation several times a week, I would be done in the first day. Okay, watching Warhammer lore. Honestly, not so much anymore. I don't get to anymore, so maybe every couple of weeks. Watching Warhammer painting videos. Again, I just don't have as much time anymore. Playing Warhammer related video games, if you had caught me like 4 years ago, that would have been every day. So I'm gonna say every couple of weeks maybe I dip in. Viewing or collecting Warhammer art. Every day I see more art. Not that I'm complaining, I love it. So every day. Interacting on Warhammer's social media. I should probably post more to Instagram, honestly, but I don't really interact with their Instagram posts. But I am on Twitter quite often, unfortunately. And I would say that there's a lot of sponsored Twitter users out there, so when I interact with them, I'm guessing I'm interacting with the official Warhammer social media. So several times a week. Hashtag warmongers. Okay, reading Warhammer newsletters. Unfortunately, I spent a lot more time doing this than I'd really care to admit. So every day, I read Warhammer newsletters every day. When they're sent out, anyway. Playing tabletop games. Oof. See, I'm not Games Workshop. I don't delineate the difference between Warhammer and any other miniature war game. Warhammer isn't special. It's just a game of many for me. So, it's kind of awkward. How often do I play a Warhammer property line? I mean, I'd say maybe every couple of weeks. Maybe every couple of weeks, yeah. Reading Warhammer lore online, e.g. wiki pages. Yeah, that's how they get you. I mean, like, the wiki pages are just full. That's where all the real hardcore lore fans go. That are like looting. So I'm gonna say several times a week. Reading Warhammer lore and codices and battle tome. Wait a minute. Not only instead of saying codices have they said codexes, but instead of battle tomes, they've said battle tomes. I read these when I get them. I usually devour a codex, honestly. I get one and I read through it all. So, I mean, when I buy one, the last codex I bought was the Gene Stealer Codex. So I'm gonna say once every few months. Interacting with unofficial online Warhammer communities. I mean, I'm on Reddit almost every day when I have the time. YouTube content and Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, obviously, every single day. Gotta get my Frodo in. The hottest Warhammer character. I can't believe we live in a world where Sean Bean was in a Warhammer movie. Was Danny DeVito in any of the Lord of the Rings movies? Was he like a dwarf or anything like that? Danny DeVito would make a killer Horus, and I wouldn't want him to have been already used in one of the Warhammer properties. And obviously for this one, I have to say every day. Oh, and do you tend to do each of these alone or with other people? Read books. I am not part of any book clubs. None that I'm allowed to talk about anyway. Okay, alone. Collecting miniatures. I sadly do this alone. Just me by myself. In a big old room filled with miniatures. I don't need friends. I mean, they're my friends. And they kind of look like people. They have eyes and faces. I guess it's alone. Alright, building miniatures. I typically do this alone as well. Painting miniatures. Again, I do a lot of stuff solitary. I don't do this down at the club or anything. Watching Warhammer animation. Oh, we have the big watch party every week. Alone. Alone. Again, alone. Stop pointing this out. I am forever alone. Watching Warhammer lore. Alone. Watching Warhammer painting videos. Alone. Playing Warhammer related video games. I don't even play with other people online. Viewing or collecting Warhammer art. I mean, I'm in a Discord server. I mean, that's not alone. It's like when you have a drink and you're chatting online. You're never alone with the phone. Yeah, that's alone. Interacting on Warhammer social media. What a weird group effort. Alone. Reading Warhammer newsletters. Oh dear God. Maybe I should stream that. Then I wouldn't be alone. Playing tabletop games. There are not enough solo games in the world right now. So I will say with other people in person. Reading Warhammer lore online. Alone. Reading Warhammer lore in codices and battle tomes. There it is again. Alone. Interacting with unofficial online Warhammer communities. Well, actually there I've got a bunch of sock puppets. So technically I'm not alone. I'm gonna click alone though. I think it feels more honest. YouTube content and Lord of the Rings. I don't think I'm alone. Y'all are with me here. I'm gonna say both alone and with other people because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. All done. Click continue to proceed. That was probably the most depressing part of the survey, although it might not be done, so I hope that is the most depressing part of the survey, at least in a sort of internal existential way. Okay, so where do you typically purchase Warhammer? At Element Games, in my affiliate link in the description below. Seriously, they have like 20% off discounts there. Check it out. So secondhand from friends, family. I do buy on eBay, when I can. So yes, secondhand. At independent game stores online, independent game stores physically, I support my local club, although they are a charity. Games Workshop web store, no, Games Workshop, I'm afraid, I'm not a chump. Warhammer store, so if you had asked me like 6-7 years ago, I would have said yes to this. I used to walk in there, and I used to walk out with a lot of miniatures. I could not help myself, and the Games Workshop employees did not make it easy either. They are very good at selling, and I am very easy to upsell. Unfortunately, these days, you walk into a Warhammer store, and there's nothing for me. It's all Space Marines and stuff. I collect Beasts of Chaos, and I already have enough start collecting boxes. Secondhand via online marketplaces or communities. Oh, okay, eBay. So that one then. Not secondhand from friends and family. Physical console / computer gaming retailer. GameStop. Oh yeah, of course, because of the Battle for Middle-earth 2. Yeah, sure. Well, no, not the physical stores anymore. Online gaming retailers. Yes, I do. Other physical retailer, bookstore. Nope, not really from there. Not from Amazon. Others, please specify. Do I want to tell Games Workshop about their competition? I can be a little bit cheeky here. Alright, continue. When do you tend to purchase Warhammer? Ooh, they're trying to find out the spending habits. Interesting. Let's see. Impulse. Yeah, I've got very poor impulse control. Special occasion for someone else. Yes, I know a few people who collect miniatures and I would buy for them. Special occasion for me. Baby, every day is a special occasion. On a regular basis, every week or month. Yes. In preparation for a specific game / event tournament. I don't really get to play at events or tournaments that often, so no. When I just want something new. Sadly, yes, this is the case. That dopamine hit. Seriously, it's dangerous. New product release? Yes, sometimes, but Games Workshop are gonna take all the wrong lessons from these answers, aren't they? In response to changes in the gaming meta / new rules. Wow. I'm really surprised that this is here. I think this is the first time that Games Workshop have ever acknowledged that changes to the meta will make people buy new miniatures and different miniatures than they normally would. I mean, obviously, Games Workshop aren't dumb, right? They know that that's the case, but I've never seen them acknowledge it before. At least not publicly. I hope a lot of people don't click that one, even if they do. That's dangerous knowledge for Games Workshop to have. The problem is that I know that people do. I don't think it's possible now, considering that this is here, for us to ever claim that Games Workshop are ignorant of this fact. I think there's pretty damning evidence that Games Workshop are aware of the impact that the changes to rules have on the gaming meta, and the competitive players are likely to purchase vast quantities of miniatures if there are new rules for them. I mean, we've always known this to an extent, right? I mean, this is why they create new codices. It's why they create their entire hype release schedule, but still, very interesting. After a period of saving up, yeah. Recommendation from a friend / the online Warhammer community. No, not for Warhammer stuff, but for smaller companies, yeah. So, no, I'm not gonna click yes to that. Other, please specify. When there's a sale. Just saying, I do. On average, how much do you spend on Warhammer per month? Is this me at the height of my Warhammer expenditure, or is this me today? Because honestly, I don't buy much Warhammer anymore. If we were talking entirely miniatures, I spent a lot of money on miniatures. More than I should, honestly. It's kind of a problem. For the last, 2 months, I haven't bought any new Warhammer stuff. The last purchases I made was I bought a bunch of Gene Stealer Cult thing. I tell you what though, at my very high, I was spending £200 or more. It's very easy to do. You buy a single box set and maybe a couple of other individual purchases, and you get like £300 easy. So I'm gonna hedge my bets here. I'm gonna say £61 to £80. On a light month, I'll spend nothing. On a really heavy month, I'll spend like over 200 quid. So I'm gonna say like 60 to 80 pounds. I'm gonna just average it out. I am bad at maths, by the way. Don't come at me in the comments about averages and medians and modes. Where do you typically play tabletop games? At a friend's house? Nope. Again, lack of friends. Tournaments? Nope. At home? Yes. At my local independent game store? Yes. at my local Games Workshop store? Sadly, no. I play a lot of variety of games, and they don't really like that there. At a gaming club, yes, I suppose it's a local independent game store, has a gaming club as well. Conventions, events, I'd like 2 more. I'd love 2 more. Using virtual tabletops and simulators. Please, nobody tell them that Tabletop Simulator exists. It's really valuable for onboarding new players into war games. Nobody tell them that it exists. Other, Street Hammer. Remember, the first rule of Street Hammer is to tell everybody about Street Hammer, because it's a great game. How often do you visit the warhammercommunity.com? That's every day for me. Look, I keep up to date with stuff that's going on in Warhammer. What is the main reason you spend time on the online Warhammer community website? Sometimes I'll click it open in a new tab, and I'll forget that I did so. And therefore, it's open for hours at a time. I have so many tabs in so many windows. No, but in all seriousness, news. I want to keep up with the news because Warhammer is relentless. I hope they don't think that's a positive thing. Thinking about your interest in Warhammer generally, how important are each of the following? Being part of a community. Yes, I love being part of a community. That's a really important part to me. But I want to be with people who play a variety of miniature war games. I want to be part of the miniature war game hobby, not just the Warhammer hobby. So it's very important, I guess. Being a good friend / partner. I think that's really important, actually. Escaping from the everyday. Yeah, it is. 5, making others happy. Ooh. I'll be honest, sometimes I play a little bit suboptimally if I'm aware that I'm playing certain people. And they're probably watching right now. So I'm gonna go with a 6. Expressing my creativity. Aha, finally, we are here. The part that makes wargaming so amazing, that you get to build and paint your own armies and do battle with them and create stories for them. 7, very important. Exciting entertainment. Yes, of course. This is super important to me. I love the games. I love playing the games. Yes, it's really important to me. Meeting new people, this is incredible. I love meeting new people who wargame. It's always super awesome. Yes, very important. Completing projects, achieving goals. My God, if I wasn't for wargaming, I would have so much harder time with attention. It's hard enough for me already, but actually focusing on miniatures is so great for me. It gives me practice at something that I have a really hard time at. Super important. Spending times with friends. Yes, 100 times, yes. For a lot of people, it's going out to a nightclub. For me, it's wargaming. It's really important. Challenging myself and testing my skill. Yes, I do. I love this. To an extent, I don't want to, have to memorize 300 different stratagems and be able to crack them out in each individual specific niche circumstance. But certainly, I want to challenge myself. I want to have rules. I want to be able to test my ability to strategize on the table. So yes, it's super important to me. Very important. Improving my skills. This is very general, but I would say overall, yes. I may advocate simply just painting and having fun with it and not having to improve your skills. But that doesn't mean that you don't if you feel inclined to do so. And besides, I'm learning new things every single day. So I think it's super important that as an individual, yeah, I love that aspect of wargaming. I'm gonna go for a 6 on this. Getting recognition and feedback. This is less important to me, I guess. My paint jobs have never been good. They've never been worthy of adoration in any way, so I'll go for a 4. Being able to relax and unwind. Yes, 100 times yes. Sometimes it's the only break that I get from everything. So very important. Creating my own stories. This is huge to me. This is the thing that ultimately attracted me to wargaming. This is why I'm sat here talking to you right now. I fell in love with crafting stories for my armies, for coming up with reasons for why they existed. And yeah, I love that aspect of these games. This is super important to me. So it turns out that actually most things that they think might be important to people is important to me. That's really interesting. I guess we kind of agree on this, maybe. I also learned that I'm really excited about miniatures. It's nice to be reminded about that. Okay, and which of these aspects of Warhammer is most important to you? Oh no, Sophie's choice. Asking me to choose. This is really hard. And I cannot help but think that if I answer incorrectly here, it may say the wrong thing to Games Workshop. If I say creating my own stories, are they going to create a book that allows me to sort of create my own little narrative and then take from an option of 3 different sub-powers, and then that's what I get to have? Expressing my creativity, spending time with friends, they're all good options. I keep coming back to this creating my own stories. And I think that any day you catch me, I might give you a different reason for which one of these aspects is the most important to me, but I think that creating my own stories might be it. Every aspect of what we do with miniature wargaming is about creating a story. When you assemble a miniature, you're crafting a story of how they look. That's why posability is so important to me. And when you play on the table itself, when you're in a game, you're creating a story of what went wrong, what went well, who died, who lived, who won, who got that massive kill, and who finally scored the final objective, and who got really salty at the table and threw all their miniatures onto the ground. Not all the stories are good, you know? So I gotta say, creating my own stories, honestly, that truly is, I think, the core, the little nugget right in the center. How would you rate the following features of Warhammer miniatures? Product breadth within specific type of miniatures. I don't even really know what this means. It's so vague. There's a lot of Space Marines, and now that Horus Heresy is coming, we're gonna get a lot more. I'll tell you what, I will give them a 7 the day that they craft a single horse. I will give them a 7 then. The moment that I can buy a horse from Games Workshop. Oh wait, no, they got me. Lord of the Rings is Warhammer. Sorry, I forgot for a moment. I was living in some strange parallel world where Lord of the Rings was not, obviously, Warhammer. I'm gonna give them a 4. Middling. Quality of product. Games Workshop do a quality product. I'm not saying they don't. I'm gonna give them a 6. Customizability. This used to be great, but it's not anymore. Too much monopose. I'm gonna say poor. Fun playability of games. I want to like Warhammer, I truly do, but 9th edition is not great, and Age of Sigmar has got really big balance concerns. Honestly, the only thing saving them right now is Lord of the Rings. And maybe Warcry, but I haven't played Warcry, so, poor. Availability of old models. It's true that you can mostly buy things on eBay. The availability of new models, though, is really lacking. I mean, they hide things in box sets for so long, we still don't have the Reductus Saboteur. 2. Frequency of release. It's too much, but so if I say poor, are they like, oh, we're not releasing fast enough, Discourse wants more releases, go, go, go. And if I say excellent, are they like, yeah, we've nailed it, once every single week is enough, yeah, good. Because they're both way too much. I'm gonna go with 4. I'm gonna go right in the middle. I'm gonna hedge my bet so that neither one is too much of a signal. Ease of building. I think it's gotten worse. The instructions have gotten better, but I think it's gotten worse because the instructions have gotten complicated. It used to be you'd slip a few arms on here and there and a little shoulder pad, but now it's like connect the hip bone to the face. It's weird. It's really weird. So I'm gonna say, I mean, I guess compared to some companies, it's pretty good. Like Malifaux, for example, is notorious for having extremely difficult assembly. Let's go for a 4. Let's go for a 4, ease of building. Interesting lore. Hey, Warhammer has interesting lore, especially Warhammer Fantasy, who I'm counting in this. So let's give them a 5. And I suppose the world building for Lord of the Rings is okay. Too much focus on trees, though. Access to rules. This is a big poor one. Look, you can buy them in books, but I can't get them online, except from Wikipedia. And, like, that's massive. That's a massive problem. I have a phone in my pocket. Why can't I see the rules on there? And they stopped selling PDFs of the codices. Poor. Very poor right now. Value for money. This one's really sad. Games Workshop do good miniatures. They do very finely sculpted miniatures, but the price is too much. I'm gonna say poor. It's very poor value for money right now. Ease of getting started. Oh no. Again, for new people, they jump in. Even if they're trying to play a game like Necromunda, they have no idea how to get started. There's like 6 different rule books. Which one's relevant? And there's a book for every single gang. Then you go to Warhammer 40k and that's like times 10. So I'm gonna say that ease of getting started, I'm gonna give it a 2. It's not impossible, obviously. I mean, you buy the rule book and you could maybe have a little juke around, but the game does not make it easy. And then that's only if you want to play like a super casual game. The moment you're like, okay, I might play a few real official games here. I might play with some of the competitive rules. Like, what do you buy? Do you buy the newest one from the new season? Or do you buy like one of the old tournament packs? Like, who knows? As a new player, who knows? So I'm gonna say a 2 here. Looks and aesthetics. I think they're pretty good, actually. There's some lines that I'm not a big fan of, but there's some lines that I'm a huge fan of. So I'm gonna go with a 6. Clarity of rules. They need to work on that. I have a hard time deciphering some of those rules. So I'm gonna go for a 3. It's not impossible, but it's pretty tough sometimes. Okay, now I'd like to ask you a bit more about Warhammer Plus. How did you first become aware of Warhammer Plus? I think it originally came to me on social media, I think. Too long ago, I can't remember this. Okay, how likely are you to subscribe to Warhammer Plus in the future? With its current content, and as far as I can tell, the current plans of content, very unlikely. Okay, you say you're unlikely to sign up to Warhammer Plus in the future. Why is that the case? Bad value for money. Not enough content. Feels like a massively missed opportunity. There's just not enough content in Warhammer Plus. And they're sitting on a lot of content that they just do not want to give out for some reason, like all of the White Dwarf library. Like, why can't I get that for subscribing to Warhammer Plus? What harm would it do? Truly. And what harm would it do letting me get it on my own PDF reader too? Yeah, actually, yeah. White Dwarf should be available on PDF reader. Okay, before today, which of the following features of Warhammer Plus subscription were you aware of? Vault, exclusive miniatures, Warhammer apps, Citadel, yep. Lore masters, battle reports, animations. I'm aware of all of it. It's just, there's not much of it. How appealing are the following features of Warhammer Plus? Vault, very appealing under the certain circumstances. Exclusive miniatures, not appealing at all. I do not like that. Warhammer apps, please just make them free. Citadel Color Masterclass. There is a lot of painting content on YouTube. I don't think that we need paid for content. Lore masters, honestly, again, YouTube kind of does this better. Battle reports. Honestly, I would watch some professional battle reports with the fancy graphics and stuff. Animations, again, I'd watch animations. To what extent do you agree or disagree that the following has prevented you from signing up with Warhammer Plus? Wow, I don't like the way Warhammer has dealt with fan content and creators. Whoa, that is very on the pulse for Games Workshop. Oh, I am really surprised at that. Wow. Yeah, I don't like that either. So I'm gonna go with, yeah, completely agree. Previous Warhammer apps have put me off. Yes, 100%. Their current apps for their games are terrible. The community reviews have put me off. Well, I mean, I made one of them, so I'm gonna go for a 4. I don't think my Warhammer hobby is serious enough for me to need an account. That's a good answer, actually. That's a good reason. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think the quality of the content is good. From all I've heard, it's okay. I haven't heard glowing reviews, but I haven't heard anyone say that it's absolutely awful. I haven't seen any of it, so I'll just go for 4. I think it's too expensive. I don't know if it's too expensive, honestly. I don't know if you could get it to be much cheaper for what it is. I mean, they're trying to create a bespoke show here, like a number of different TV shows. So I'm gonna go with a 4, honestly. I think it's not enough value for money, but I don't know if you could really make it like 50p a month, really. That seems like a weird service. So, 4. I already have other subscriptions, and I don't want another. Completely agree. I have a Netflix. Put all your content on Netflix. I don't find the marketing and promotional material particularly appealing. I haven't really thought about this because I just tune it out. I just tune out that marketing. So I'm just going for a 4. I'm concerned the customer support isn't good enough. Honestly, I mean, I never even thought about Games Workshop customer support. In fairness to them, they typically are pretty good. I think unless it's Forge World and your model is warped. It takes too much time and effort to sign up. I mean, if it's good, I will go to the effort. So completely different. I don't think there's enough content available. Completely agree. Okay, and which of these do you think is the most important in preventing you from signing up to Warhammer Plus? I mean, I feel like as a content creator, I should probably click I don't like the way Warhammer has dealt with fan content, but in all honesty, I would say it's probably that there's just not enough content available. How important would each of the following be in encouraging you to sign up to Warhammer Plus? Content with higher production quality. I don't know. I don't think that's the problem, so I'm gonna say 3. Apps that are easier to navigate. I mean, yeah, that'd be good, but it's not like the most critical thing. Make the apps free with all the content in it. Free access to other Games Workshop apps. E.g. Black Library, 40k. But what do they mean by this? What do they mean? Do they mean like I'm gonna get the entirety of Black Library? Because if so, then yeah, extremely important. More overall content? Yeah, extremely important. Other types of chosen content. Give me all the codices. Give me all the White Dwarfs, and I will subscribe. 5. More permissive policies for how fans can create and share their own content. Honestly, I don't know if that's the biggest issue with Warhammer Plus. I mean, they're trying to make it their own little bespoke sort of editorial thing, so I'm gonna say 4. Now, are we gonna talk about the NDA here? If we take that into account, extremely important that they get a grip on that. More free miniatures. That isn't important. They do not need to bundle miniatures with this. They should not be bundling miniatures with this service. You should not have to subscribe to Warhammer Plus in order to get free miniatures, so not important at all. A cheaper subscription, again, I don't think it's price really that's the issue here. Animations released more frequently, yes. 1 a week that's like 3 minutes long. I don't know. I don't watch it, but no, certainly not an hour. More shows, yes. More marketing and promotional materials, no, that's not important to me. Okay, all done. Which of these do you think would be most important in encouraging you to sign up to Warhammer Plus? It's obviously more marketing and promotional materials. No, it's gonna have to be more overall content. There needs to be a lot more content, but man, I don't know if they'll ever be able to get enough to compete with some of the other streaming services. Find out a bit more about you. Thinking generally, how do you feel about Games Workshop? Honestly, I'm pretty negative about Games Workshop generally. Maybe I'll answer why in a video at some stage. But I'm gonna put myself down as a 2. Not a 1. I'm sure there's people out there being like, you're number 1. But honestly, I'm pretty negative. I wouldn't say I'm very negative. You told us you feel negatively about Games Workshop. Why is this the case? There are a lot of reasons, so I'm gonna do that off screen. Thinking generally, how do you feel about the Warhammer hobby? This is a weird one because I don't believe in the Warhammer hobby. I believe in the miniature wargaming hobby. Warhammer explicitly though, I'm gonna say 4. I'm kind of neutral on it right now. If this was just mini wargaming, I'd say 7. Although I should probably knock it up 1 because I like the Lord of the Rings movies. Which Warhammer games do you currently engage with? I actually engage with a lot. So Necromunda, I engage with Kill Team, Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Nice to see that on a list. I think that's all of them. Which Warhammer games would you be interested in engaging with in the future? If there is a lack of bloat. So Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar. Honestly, Warhammer The Old World is one that I'm really personally looking forward to. I hope it's good. Oh God, please let it be good. Middle-earth strategy battle game. I always like an excuse to play battle companies. Warcry is a big one. I actually do have a Warcry starter set in there, so I will be planning to play Warcry at some stage. I've heard really good things about it. I would have been interested in Warhammer Underworlds, but I don't like the price increases. No thank you. Which other miniature games do you currently play or collect? What? Oh wow, so Games Workshop are actually mentioning other miniature companies. Oh my God, that's huge, right? Like, have they ever spoken? I guess this is when you know the Games Workshop are under a lot of pressure then. So I do have The Walking Dead All Out War, Conquest Last Argument of Kings, I do not. The Ninth Age, isn't that a fan project? Games Workshop know about that? Star Wars Legion, I do have an army from that. No Battlefleet Gothic, no Man of War. Malifaux, I don't have any miniatures for that. Kings of War, I do have miniatures for that. Warhammer Fantasy Battles, yes. Oldhammer, so they're actually using Oldhammer. This must have been outsourced to some marketing company who actually did look into the miniature wargaming hobby. This feels very strange from Games Workshop. Infinity, yes. Is this why this survey is so exclusive? Because they actually talk about their own competition in it? I wonder. Guild Ball, I never got a chance to play it. Dreadball, I do not play. Stargrave, I haven't played it yet. Warmaster, I have not. Frostgrave, again, I haven't had a chance to play that yet either. I don't think I can count Gork and Mork. I haven't played that. A Song of Ice and Fire, I have actually. I play that every so often. War Machine, I don't really play that. Don't really play Epic. Warhammer Battle Armies Project and Battletech. I don't play Battletech. Other, please specify. Whoa, I can't. I'm sorry. There are too many. I'm just gonna do too many to mention. Surprisingly, none of the Warlord games are here, and I would have actually counted Warlord as one of the biggest competitors to Games Workshop. I mean, they're only down the street from them. That's a curious leave out. And which general hobbies do you engage with in a typical week? YouTube. It really ate everything up. And which of the following streaming services are you currently signed up to? Not a lot, honestly. Hey, they don't have Shudder. Which of the below best describes your working status? I think we can skip the rest of them here unless anything spicy shows up. Survey completed, and there we are. Games Workshop secret survey has been done, and wow, that was actually a really interesting survey. Woohoo! So wow, what are my thoughts on the survey? Honestly, my mind's a little bit blown. Some of the questions were crazy. So I think first of all, in terms of the survey itself, it's obvious that Warhammer Plus is not performing to the extent that they wanted it to. It's not been very successful by, I think, most people's measures. And so therefore, I mean, it makes sense that they're sending a survey. But wow, like some of the questions they were asking were really insightful. And they were the types of questions that I would not expect Games Workshop to ask. What did I learn? Well, firstly, that I really love mini wargaming. This reminded me of everything that I do enjoy about it, so thanks for that, Games Workshop. But secondly, that they're aware of the competition, or at least whatever third-party marketing company they got to do this survey are aware of the competition. That's really curious as well. But also, they are targeting their most ardent fans with this survey, which is similar to one of the other surveys they did back in like November of last year. They're only capturing the ones that are most invested in wargaming, which worries me, it concerns me, because it means that newer people coming into the hobby, you know, they might not get listened to. And ultimately, it's the new people coming in that are the lifeblood of this hobby. So it's sad to me that seemingly they're not that interested in making the game more accessible. They're just more about trying to serve up content to people who are already heavily invested in Warhammer. So that's really sad, and I hope my inference is incorrect there. So are Games Workshop feeling the hate? Well, I hope so. This survey seems to suggest that, and it could honestly be a really good thing. Maybe this will get them to improve. I hope so, and I hope they take some of this survey data on board. So what do you think? Are they just trying to give established hobbyists what they want? Like, for example, the squats release recently, which I talked about, and you can check out that video here. And a big thanks to my patrons, especially Steven Jackson and Earthwormia. Thank you. And I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye! Until they take all this feedback on board, Games Workshop, the Lenda Est.